Breaking news: subpoenas flying in the battle over impeachment. House Democrats now demanding President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, hand over documents about Ukraine. This is the latest move from Democrats as they move full speed ahead, teeing up a potential impeachment vote by the end of the year. Meantime, President Trump hammering the whistleblower and says the White House is trying to figure out who it is.
Well, we're trying to find out about a whistleblower. The call was perfect. When the whistleblower reported it, he made it sound terrible. And then you had Adam Schiff, who, even worse, made up my words. The reason is when he saw my call to the president of Ukraine, it was so good that he couldn't quote from it because there was nothing done wrong. It was perfect.
Democrats say a potential hearing with the whistleblower could happen very soon, both sides showing they're digging in for a fight.
It's all hearsay. You can't get a parking ticket conviction based on hearsay.
We could not ignore what the president did. He gave us no choice.
This is not about getting Joe Biden in trouble. This is about proving that Donald Trump was framed by the Democrats.
The president believes that it is his God-given right to shake down foreign leaders for helping his reelection.
The president did nothing in this phone call that's impeachable.
And Rudy Giuliani was just subpoenaed by the Democrats about this issue, and so we'll see how that turns out. And he might talk about it tonight. He will be on Hannity, 9 p.m. Eastern, so you can catch Rudy's latest there. Let me first go to you, Jesse. This hearing that the whistleblower will have, it would be behind closed doors. So even though people are anxious to figure out who it might be, the protections that are afforded under the law continue.
Yes, Congress never leaks, so we're not going to hear anything about that testimony for sure. I mean, if the whistleblower didn't hear the call, who told him about the stuff that happened on the call? And why didn't they blow the whistle? Why did they feed it to the whistleblower?
In the report, it says several people.
Several people told this one guy. Why did they all tell one guy? It just seems like a setup to me. The other thing is, where was Biden this weekend? Why was Biden not doing every Sunday show pulling the full Ginsburg? You'd think that now, in the moment of the campaign, he'd be out there defending his honor, rebutting all of these false allegations, according to his campaign. But instead, he had the media do all the defense of him. I guess, you know, when you're a Democrat, you can let the media do that.
What is the strategy, Donna? Do you know what the Biden people are thinking? Because they have decided, you know, basically to downplay it. He's been doing his campaign stuff, but not talking about the issue.
I would agree with the vice president's staff. Look, he's running for president of the United States. He is out there talking to voters, raising money, trying to meet the deadline. This decision by the House to launch an impeachment inquiry is one of their solemn duties and responsibilities. The framers gave this responsibility to the House of Representatives. I hope it's conducted in a fair manner so that we don't spend the next however long trashing people, demonizing people, when it is their solemn duty and responsibility to conduct this in a fair and accurate way.
When they pull evidence, like for Ukraine, when I don't know all the details, but when the House Democrats subpoena somebody like Rudy Giuliani, who is the president's personal lawyer, he doesn't work for the government, but he has been talking about how he has text messages on his phone that say the State Department knows. So do you know what the law would be? Does the president have personal attorney-client privilege in this case, or is it different?
Right. Well, the attorney-client privilege only extends between the president and Rudy Giuliani. And part of what he was saying on TV and on multiple outlets is the fact that this production of documents is from multiple sources, State Department representatives, et cetera. So it's those documents that Congress is subpoenaing, not conversations between he and the president. And in terms of the executive privilege, that doesn't apply because he wasn't working at the behest of him, right? Because the whole point is to determine whether or not he was a vehicle acting on the president's personal behalf, using an instrument of the state.
We're about day 10 into this story. Greg, how are you holding in there?
Not well. I have to say I'm sick of this story. I'm absolutely sick of this story, and it's only begun. And I realize, so why am I sick of it? Because I've heard it before. This impeachment has been served 18 different ways, right, since 2016. I can't stomach it. It's like they keep remixing the same horrible song, hoping that it will be a hit. But I can tell it's not going to happen. And I'm going to put on my therapist hat here. You don't have to like the guy to know this is BS. It's been going on for 3 years. I hated the Dodgers, but I knew they were a good team. You don't, if you want to get rid of this guy because of his personality, just realize that this is going to come back and haunt you because you're going to have half of America that's going to go after your guy or girl when this happens. And then trying to get Biden off TV, which was not Biden, Biden's team trying to get Giuliani off television.
It was a strange thing.
It is a strange thing, especially when you are allowed to have Adam Schiff on TV.
But also because
he's a member of Congress.
Yeah, but he's still a liar. I mean, Schiff tried to get naked pictures of Trump, so he actually did what he's accusing Trump of doing.
We actually have, can I play that?
Yes,
we
please.
Actually, believe it or not, we actually have a call for of that very call you're talking about. Let's listen.
I had no idea.
What we have seen in that call record is a president of the United States use the full weight of his office to manufacture dirt on his opponent.
So you have recordings of both Sobchak and Buseva where they're discussing the compromising material on Mr. Trump?
Absolutely.
Well, obviously we would welcome a chance to get copies of those recordings.
So, of course, Jesse was during a prank call. Don't ever answer.
Well, he didn't know it was a prank call.
Right.
He thought it was legit. So Democrats can ask foreigners to investigate Trump, but Trump can't ask foreigners to investigate Democrats. Got it, everybody? That's what this is all about. And there's a lot of fake news coming out of the Biden campaign because they keep on saying that, you know what, everybody in Europe wanted this one prosecutor fired. And I thought to myself, I wonder why that is. And I went to start looking and who was on the board of directors of Burisma, and guess what I found? Alan Apter from Renaissance Capital, the Russian investment bank that paid Bill Clinton $500,000 to speak in Moscow. He's the director. Then we have Cofer Black, CIA. We have the former president of Poland, and we also have Devon Archer, who's John Kerry's former foreign policy advisor. Very well-connected, very wealthy group of individuals, and they wanted to get the word out to their friends that this guy was a corrupt investigator and he needed to be fired. But you know what? We found some documents that prove that was a disinformation campaign. Burisma hired, I believe it was a Blue Star Strategies, a D.C. consulting firm, to put out the fake news about the prosecutor that everybody bought, and then the guy gets fired, and the Blue Star Strategy Group came back to Ukraine and apologized for putting out all this fake information about their prosecutor. And the Ukrainian prosecutor who was fired testified under oath that he was fired because he wouldn't drop this investigation into the firm that Joe Biden's son was a member of. And Joe Biden and his son were never investigated. The Biden-appointed prosecutor who came in after the other guy was fired never opened up an investigation into Joe Biden or his son. So he never investigated him, and he never cleared him. And I wanted to put that out there because there is a lot of fake news out there about this story.
I just want to complete a thought that why did Nancy Pelosi said why this phone call was important? It was because it was a simpler, clearer way to impeach Trump so that the public would understand it, right? This was an easier way for them to understand it. So this has all been like a Cinderella slipper. You know, they've been searching for that one shoe that's going to fit, and they went through a warehouse of shoes before they got to this one. But if they don't get this one, they'll just find another. So we know what this is.
Donna, do you want to have a last word here?
You know, there's so much that I could debunk, but we have just an hour. One of the things that I've enjoyed reading about all of this and the change in narrative that I hear, not just from the White House and the allies of the White House, but also the change in information that we're getting out of Ukraine. This is why we need an inquiry, so that we can learn the facts, expose the truth. And the more we get into this hyperbole and trying to defend our sides and not looking at the truth, the farther away we are going to get from resolving this matter.
Quick final point on strategy. Just to respond to what you're saying about the glass slipper. The hardest cases to prove in the court of public perception are the ones where you keep amending the complaint or you keep amending the charging documents. And the fact that this has been a slow leak, a festering wound for years without this proverbial smoking gun means that the court is, or the public is totally fatigued. We're exhausted. There's nothing. There's no aha. It's not a tight case.
Well, we will
and that's
see.
Be
we have more to talk about this. Hillary
knew
Clinton.
that this would be a matter of consideration, and they knew that it would take time for us to discuss this.
The framers were smart, and Donna teaches
Were
about
they?
that, indeed.